Hey guys, Tinksy here with some husbandry tips and tricks and just showing you what husbandry looks like for me. So to begin my day, I'm going to go check in the animals, see who's got any produce ready to collect. I'm also going to check on any birthdays. As you can see, there's a little birthday icon up top. And then I'm also going to see who's got a new trait because it looks like we've got another one to the farm. Now here, Roz does have the icon where I need to give a little bit of food. Normally I'm pretty good with it, but it looks like this time I might have forgotten. But thankfully there is a little icon that makes sure you don't forget. Now for the most part, everyone else is pretty fed because I do typically keep up with it. So I'm just going to grab the rest of my produce and then head down to one of the other pens and just check in with the other animals. So checking in the birthday, it looks like it's Nico's birthday and they've become a young adult, which means they can now produce and make offspring. And next we're off to check on our new trait. So in this pen, it looks like it is Ruby's who has acquired the new trait. And if we have a look, it looks like it's cheerful too. So nothing too exciting. Also worth noting, if you don't want these new traits to appear, make sure you use a predictable cookie because it'll stop that altogether. Now I'm going to head over to the breeding area, which is in this pen here, and just see if there's anyone that I'm looking to breed, maybe make a new offspring. Now, fun fact, when you do breed your animals, you can actually avoid the new in town buff, which you get from buying the animals. So if you do breed a bad offspring or they get the wrong traits, you can always sell them straight away. Now looking here, I want to try and merge some of my epic and my legendary traits for some new offspring. Now, given that they've got a lot of traits, this is going to be quite difficult, so I might need to use some cookies here just to increase my chances of getting at least some of the buffs that I want onto the new offspring. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, you can only get 6 traits, a max of 6 traits per animal. So obviously if you've got more than that, the parents, it's a little bit of a risky game. And sometimes it's a bit of trial and error until you get it correct and how you want it. Now, jumping into the chest, fun fact, you can actually put all your cookies in your lockbox to keep them all in one space, and they don't actually take up any room. So what I'm trying to find here is some of my breeding biscuits, as well as any of my other beneficial trait cookies. Now, once all the cookies are acquired, there's one thing we need to do first before we can breed anything, and that is empty out our farm of any animals we don't want to keep. So we are going to donate a few animals here. Now, normally you can use your donation biscuits, but I only tend to use those on animals of a slightly higher quality, not so much the abundant, which is the lowest tier of animal that you can have. Now we've made room, it's time to give our breeding partners their biscuits to hopefully increase their odds of making a really cool offspring. So for Chris, we're going to give him one of the fancier breed biscuits, which will allow 4 traits to be passed on, up to 4, worth noting, just because they do have the legendary traits and a few good cosmetic ones. Then for Roz, we're not going to want as many, we mostly just want those tier 5 buffs and ideally sparkly if possible, so we're going to go for a fancier breed biscuit, which is 3 traits, up to 3 traits it'll pass on. Now we're back at the breeding pen, it's time to make magic happen, so just double checking to make sure we've given them the right biscuits, making sure their buffs are all good, and then when we're ready we're going to click breed and see what we can get. So fingers crossed, that's 2 of the 5 buffs, sparkly, unique, and a legendary buff, so not both of the legendary buffs, but to get most of the traits that I was wanting from those 2 animals is pretty damn good. Now comes the time to name this little one. Now, I typically like to name my animals after community members, so I'm actually naming this one after one of my mods. So I'm gonna name it Greenheart, as a little homage to Greenheart. And like that, they're just part of the farm now. So I do want to continue breeding after this little one, but I do want to just have a check to see which animals I'm going to breed. So if you hit H, you'll actually pull up your entire animal roster, so you can just have a look to see who's got what. Now, hovering over, you can see over the donate value here, different animals have different donate values, all the way up to legendary, which is not the easiest to get, but with breeding you can definitely get it. Worth noting, when you do donate animals of different tiers, it's not guaranteed to get treat bags of those tiers. Now, next breeding pair we're going to go for, we're probably going to go for Zuzu and Sapphire, once again trying to combine some of our top tier buffs. Now this one I didn't go for any biscuits just because there wasn't a lot of traits to pass on, so I let chance honestly do its thing, and it actually turned out pretty well. we've got this little cutie right here. Now, I'm not gonna name them straight away. I'm gonna save this for a little bit later to name with my community, but we are gonna give them some food just to welcome them to the farm and get that farming experience, or husbandry experience, I should say. And now we've got a cute little trufflet offspring. Now, since I don't want to breed any more animals, I do still want to fill the gaps and try and see if I can get some more really good traits in some of my animals. So I'm going to buy the last few just to fill the gaps, and then we're going to check in on them and see what sort of buffs and things they have. So here we've got an Ormu with Precocious 5 and Unique 3. Pretty okay, but typically not what I'm looking for. So any animal I don't actually want to keep on the farm, I'm still going to pet them, still going to feed them so we get that husbandry experience, but I'm just going to name them Sell for now, just so I know that's an animal that I will be selling as soon as their new in town buff has gone. Now, this little bumble here has Quirky 4, which just means they can have an increased chance of gaining new traits, which is alright, but not exactly what I'm looking for. So once again, I'm going to put them on the sell list. I will just give them a trait cookie just to see if they get anything exciting, but it doesn't look like it, unfortunately. So once again, I'm going to leave them on the sell list and wait for that buff to expire. Number 3 has absolutely nothing on it besides just being its adorable little self. So once again, gonna pet, gonna feed it, and leave it just waiting for that buff to expire. And then finally, with our last little trufflet, it's got Loner, which is not a great buff to look for. So pet, feed, and then that is all our newborns that have just entered the farm. But now to show you some of my favorites that I've been raising and breeding, we've got Belle, our cute little Sunset Fuzz sparkly bumble. Now you'll find I have a real thing for sparkly animals on the farm, so you'll probably see a lot of them. But Belle, it was my first cute little bee that actually got some really nice traits, so they're definitely staying. Next up we have Adri, who is our polka dot harlequin feathered sparkly Pecky. And then we've got Roz, who is our sparkly bluesy feathers. Shout out to the blue chickens from Stardew Valley. And then finally we have Katie, our cute little sparkly stripy trufflet. So the last little tip I'm gonna leave you guys with is the heart button. Now the heart button is really helpful just because it helps you track your animals on your farm. So I needed to give Sunny some affection and also feed Sunny. So here I now have a little marker, and now I can see where Sunny is on my map. So I'm gonna head over, and then once I open up their little animal panel, I'll be able to feed them, pet them, and turn the little heart buff off rather than having to go into the big animal roster screen to do so. And that's everything I do on my day of ranching. So I hope you guys found this insightful, and feel free to let me know your favorite traits and animal names below.